Welcome back to Einstein Media Center, your one-stop shop for all unnecessary media dissection. Today we are joined by a very special guest as always. Please give a big welcome to Eric from the band American Theory. Eric, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining. Can you give me a little bit of background about who you are and who American Theory is as a band?
Yeah, so my name is Eric, and I am the drummer slash vocalist of American Theory. Um, and a little rundown about the band. I'm basically representing the band today, but we're a five-piece band. It includes me, who plays drums, and then alternate between scream vocals while I'm playing drums and also as a frontman. Um, and then we have Jonathan Gutierrez, who plays bass, and he also plays drums whenever I do the frontman role. And then I'm sorry, he plays bass, and then he plays drums whenever I play do the frontman role. And then we have Devin, who is our usual frontman, doing clean vocals, but then he also switches to bass whenever John's on drums, or whenever John is on drums, and then I'm on lead vocals. I'm sorry, it's already getting confusing because we're kind of crazy when it comes to live shows. And then Mike, he holds it down by just playing guitar the entire time. And then same with Abe. He's our new hire. He plays synth and electronics, and then sometimes helps on bass. So just to give it some variety. That's a little bit of a rundown of our current lineup. And it kind of took a while to get to this point. And I guess, we've gone through a lot of evolution of, I guess, sound and, what instruments everybody's playing. So at this point, we're just all kind of having fun with it, and just trying to make live shows fun for people going to them and then fun for us as well.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that evolution in sound. So I believe the first album was out in 2018, is that correct?
Yes.
And then we had the EP in 23, and then most recently, the most recent album that came out. I feel like from even, the first album and the EP, both of those sound very different from your most recent album. So can you talk a little bit about what you attribute that, I don't want to say change in direction, but maybe that evolution to?
I think we were always into just, heavier music, early post-hardcore, and for a while our influences were that, and they still are. And I think what kind of progressed us in a way to, the band that we are right now is mainly me switching to starting to scream. Because before, Devin, our lead vocalist, was only really doing cleans and then occasionally here and there would do a scream. But it wasn't until I started screaming to where we're like, oh, kind of opens the doors a little bit to, be a heavier band like we've always wanted to be. So it's always been something that we've liked and wanted to do. It's just, it took us a while to find that because I didn't even know I had it in me. And I still don't know I have it in me because I'm like, man, I see all these like crazy vocalists and I'm just yelling and I have fun doing it and I like the expression of it. I still get to play drums, um, and still get to express myself, front of the stage as well. So that's, I think, how we got our more heavier side. But as far as like our lighter side, I mean, Devin, our lead vocalist, he's always come up with some crazy catchy melodies and everything. So that's always been something that he's, tried to improve. And then just us collaborating more and more over time is just kind of, we've been trying to find out or like fine tune everything. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, learning to do the screaming, how was that also like incorporating with drumming? Because you don't see it often because it's kind of a pain in the ass. So how is,
Yeah.
doing that and learning that now?
The first time I screamed on a track was our single Devil, which was released in 2023. And that song originally was written um, with Devin trying to do scream vocals. But then he was like, man, like I'm not really liking the way it's sounding. Like he didn't even send me, anything that he was trying to do. He just told me like, hey, I've heard you scream like for fun. at rehearsals and just like in the car, just messing around. Because I've always like casually done it for fun. And he was like, "Teach me how to scream." But then I like go in for a recording session, just as like a test, and then he was like, "Nah, like I like your voice. We're gonna do this." So I kind of that's how it kind of progressed to that point. It was like, oh, it was a test, but then it ended up being like, oh, this is actually really sick. Let's actually, track this for real. So it ended up being in the final song, but then obviously, I still need to play drums, so I had to figure it out. I was like, oh, I guess I got to learn how to scream and play drums at the same time. And honestly, it's it can be difficult sometimes, but it just makes me really have to learn the drum parts like muscle memory completely. Because they're like, if I don't I have to like learn both perfectly. Because sometimes I'll like get away with like not being fully locked in with the drum parts, um, but including vocals with it, it's mandatory to like really know what I'm playing all the time.
You're talking about doing the screaming that kind of lent itself so you could get into the heavier parts more. But I would say you definitely also doubled down on like some of the more poppier hooks on the new album also. So like how has been bringing in the synth and the keyboards, like how has that lent itself to expand that side of your sound for you guys too?
Yeah, so the way we approached this album was more every idea, I would say most of the ideas, if I'm not mistaken, were started with some sort of synth or electronic. So instead of like, building a riff and then putting electronics over it, we started it mostly with electronics. Sometimes we'll start drums first, rhythm section first, and then go, but majority of the songs were electronics first. So I think that kind of helped have that approach, and have it to where like having a synth player and electronics player, makes it very, has him like, actually doing stuff live. Um, but I think as far as the you know the catchier hooks and the pop elements, that's also been something that we've all really been into. Especially Devin, I would say, is like great at coming up with pop structured stuff, and I really look up to him when it comes to that kind of stuff. I Even from like an image standpoint, I definitely come up with a lot of more of the heavier stuff, and then he comes up with more of like the poppier stuff. um but at the same time, like those worlds unite always, and we both at the core have the same influences that we've grown up with. So um I think it's just the combination of working with everybody to bringing everybody's influences to the table. I think that's how we kind of got that contrast of sound. So like no idea is out there. It's like, oh, we want to, make this kind of song. We'll make this kind of song. We want to make this kind of song. We'll make a heavy song. We'll make a poppy song. We'll,
Yeah, yeah. So
try all extremes.
yeah. So like what is the writing process, or what was it for the most recent album? Like who is bringing those ideas forward first? Is it, someone coming with a whole song, someone coming with an idea? Like how do you guys tend to be writing these songs?
Um, it kind of varies, to be honest. With this record, I would say, yeah, it varied a lot, and you can kind of tell with the songwriting. I would say everybody kind of comes to the table with something. When it comes to me, usually I come up with drums and vocal parts. So literally what I'm doing. I'm not a great guitar player. I know I dabble with it, but literally everybody else in the band is an amazing guitar player. So I'm like, I'm not even gonna try. I'm good at directing guitars, and I can tell you like what I want out of it, but I'm not gonna even touch the guitar. Um, and then uh, Jonathan, he comes up with the riffs, and sends them over. Mike, our guitar player, also sends riffs over, and also like programs drums as well. Um, and then most recently, Abe comes to the table with some electronic stuff, and we kind of build around that as well. Um, and then Devin comes out with full songs sometimes, and who already have stuff, and then just we kind of rewrite it in a way. And then sometimes he won't write anything, and he'll be more so the producer. So he'll be the producer in the room that's like, oh, let's take this idea, let's shift it this way. He kind of takes our ideas and actually makes them songs. So I would say he's the producer of the band, more so than anything.
Nice. So then speaking about like production work on it, like how was the recording process of this? Where'd you guys end up recording the whole album?
At Devin's place, at my place, just very DIY, I would say. Obviously money, and also just over time we like having like as much creative control when it comes to stuff as possible. Like Devin has been mixing and mastering and engineering stuff for a while. He went to school for it and everything. So it's one of his passions to where like it's easy to work with him, and he kind of has all of us as like outside kind of ears to like kind of give him notes and everything. But honestly, he's super killer with it, and he's improved over time. So yeah, everything's in house that we do. We record everything ourselves, literally. And Devin's closet is where all the vocal takes happened. Very awkward set. It works.
That's honestly crazy because the album really does sound so crisp. It is like it really sounds great. So kudos to you guys.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know how Devin does it, but he did. You got to trust the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. So was there any type of like theme or ethos that you're trying to get out when you're all coming up with like the lyrical content on the album?
Yeah, so the whole album, it's titled "Where Did All the Flowers Go," and um it's an album about loss, and each song is a different stage of grief. Um, so for example, the first song, Aphasia, is shock. The next song, Sink Your Teeth, Denial. Um, Bleeding, Anger. Stay is bargaining. I'm trying to think of the track list. What's after that? But yeah, basically every song kind of has a different stage of grief that it kind of follows. So we just built the lyrics around that, and even the energy of the song around that. And just like whenever you're grieving and going through loss, and you go through those stages, they're not so cohesive. They can start with a pop song or like a poppier song, like For You, and then immediately cut in to No Sleep, and wake you up out of that. So that's kind of what we want to portray, like just that contrast of going through something like that. And while we were writing the album, a lot of our band members were going through different losses, so it felt right to do it about that. And we wanted to make something unique with it as well. So
Now, that's it's heavy stuff, like lyrically and from a content perspective. Does it ever become difficult in any way to perform it while for a show you got to get hyped, got to get excited? Is it ever like difficulty to have that juxtaposition of performing these heavier lyrically songs with trying to get a crowd excited to sing them along with you?
I can't, speak for Devin, who also does vocals. But for me, it lets me have an outlet for that kind of stuff. So the stuff that I kind of, write about is mostly like anger, anxiety, and stuff. So it's just a good way to take it out, and especially like if people are like singing along back, it kind of brings the song beyond me. So it's like it kind of takes the ego out of it a little bit. I know for Devin, um, sometimes it can be emotional for certain songs. There's one song, it's the last song off of the record, Your Presence. Very heavy lyrical content for him personally. And I don't know if we'll ever be able to play that song live because of that. But also I'm not sure we might be able to, because I think it's an amazing song, and he killed it with that, because that was a riff that Mike wrote, but the lyrics were all Devin on that one. So
Nice. So then talking about where people can get the album, right now obviously only a physical release. So I personally love that idea. I think it's really cool. But I just wanted to talk about like what was the inspiration there for that?
Yeah, so with that, we were kind of trying to figure out ways to, really push the album aspect of it because we released our first album in 2018, and then we released an EP, and then we released three singles, which were Devil, which was kind of a heavier song, or like showing our heavier side, me screaming for the first time. Then it was Love You to Life, which was a very pop structured song um, that did very well. And then Drowning, which kind of incorporated a little bit of both and kind of showed me as a front man for the first time. Um, so those were like songs where like, okay, we kind of know where we want to go from here. The next thing we want to do is have an album again, finally. Like we think we're ready for another record. Um, so doing that, we worked so hard on the album. It's like, oh, we see, you know, our peers and everything release albums and it kind of just it fades quickly. A lot of people don't pay attention to the album in its entirety, except for the singles you release sometimes. And with all the BS that's happening with streaming services and Spotify and everything, we kind of wanted to take a little bit of that and just like be like, hey, you know what? For the people that really want to hear it, we have the album ready. We'll still play the game where we're doing the waterfall and everything. But for the people that really want to support us and really want to, listen to an album top to bottom, like this is your way to do it. So yeah, we wanted to kind of appeal you know, to people that still listen to stream. Like I still listen to music on streaming and everything. It's kind of normal, but at the same time, like I mean, I have a physical media collection, and that's a good way of like forcing yourself to listen to an album in its entirety. You put it on, it's like it's way harder to skip stuff.
Have you found that like, you've been able to entice people with the singles and they're like, oh shit, I gotta check out the rest of the songs. Like have you found that like from a I guess strategy perspective that has been working?
Especially because the singles that we chose to release on streaming first have been have been a contrast every time. We're like, all right, we're gonna release a lighter song, then we're gonna release a heavy song, just so to kind of it's kind of anti streaming in a way because they always recommend making your next release cohesive. That way, it gets better on the algorithm and everything like that. But we're kind of like, man, like whatever at this point. Like this is the kind of band we are, so it's kind of cool to be like, all right, we're gonna do a heavy song, light song, heavy song, light song, and just see what happens. So it just kind of keeps people guessing. And then even during the release, during the release process, we also dropped a cover in the middle of it. That's not even on the album, but we're just like, man, I'm just gonna take a quick break just because we can. And I'm excited for the whole album to be on, streaming because I know a lot of people, still haven't gotten to that point, but I think they'll appreciate the songs that we have released so far, hearing it in full context. I feel that it would just make more sense, I guess, than it seems right now.
Yeah, definitely. So you just mentioned the cover that you guys dropped. I wanted to ask, I really obviously really liked the Charlie XCX cover. You did a Symphony is a Knife. I loved that album. I thought you guys did a great job with the cover. What was it about that song that made you want to cover it? Like, what was there something lyrically, or was it just the vibe of it? What made you think that like fit your vibe?
To be honest, it was just I really like that song, and somehow I convinced the rest of the band to do it. And yeah, it's pretty much as simple as that. That was an idea I had whenever I first listened to Brat. I was like, I like loved that album. I was like, dude, and that was my favorite song off of the album. So I was like, man, I feel like we gotta cover this. Like I can hear it in my head. Like that's like a guitar part right there. Like dun 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 dun. Dun. And I told it to the boys, and they actually got into that album as well. Um, and eventually we covered it a couple of times at some shows that we had, and people were like, "Yo, you should like actually make that into a song." So we cooked it up pretty quick. Devin somehow sung it in the original key, and yeah, and I don't know. I love that cover too. I feel like it kind of suited us well, and it kind of um, it was a good cover to show, you know, what the next release would be, which was For You, um, showing that kind of like poppier side and how we've taken influences from pop artists into, you know, the music that we make as well.
For sure. I also really appreciated the like single artwork you released for it with you know, your colors with the brat font and everything. I thought that
Yeah.
was a fun little touch.
Yeah, that was fun. Shout out to Mike from our band for making that idea, you know, come to life. He does a lot of our visual kind of stuff. He doesn't make a lot of the visual stuff, but he's the one that's always like in the room whenever, you know, it happens, co-directing videos and writing scripts and stuff like that. So
Nice. Very cool. So to back up a little bit, you said you recorded the album pretty much all on your own. Everything was DIY. So what was it like getting the album you know, physically released? Like how did you guys go about doing that?
we worked with CD makers, which is, you know, a printing company that, you know, does CDs and vinyls and stuff. And we're actually printing vinyls right now, or pressing vinyls, um, with a local company in Raleigh, Poorhouse. So those should be available relatively soon. So then
Nice.
we'll have vinyls for the first time. So going about it independently, it keeps it kind of simple because we just like, you know, request for send them the audio files, the artwork, all the stuff, and then uh, you know, a lot of, you know, that profit kind of goes directly towards us, and so, you know, so it's a good way for people to support at the merch table, and not only that, but they get songs that are, you know, nobody else really has. So we found that really cool. um yeah, and CDs are just kind of like a low cost way of doing it as well. um and I don't know about you, but I grew up still in the CD era. um So like I have some vinyl and stuff, but I also like as a kid I just remember listening to CDs all the time. So I feel like that's still like kind of special to me. I know it's not as common as vinyl, but it's still special to me. So
No, for sure. I also, yeah, had a bunch of CDs. I grew up in the generation of burning your own CDs and all that. So that
yeah.
was but like I still have a car with a CD player in it. So I'm still
Oh yeah,
using
that's
CDs.
sick. Yeah. Yeah, they don't make those there. So like that's perfect. Honestly, I wish my car still had a CD player because I did have one for a while, and then whenever I switched cars, I was like, oh man, like I was having like a whole booklet and stuff, just like CDs. I remember that.
So you mentioned videos before. You guys have put out a few music videos for the song so far. Do you happen to have like any more coming down the pipeline or anything like that?
But yeah, we got I guess the first track and second track off of our album, um they kind of act as one song almost. That's kind of the way we play it live. That's the way we like kind of view them. So we're making one cohesive video with that, and actually we're kind of in the editing post production process right now. And Abe from our band, he's been our video guy for a while, and I work a lot with him on that kind of stuff. So me and him have been cooking it up. But as far as all the other videos that we've released so far, we've worked with Dylan Phipps. So shout out to him. He's We've presented him ideas and he's made them come to life, and it's super cool. So me personally, I love the visual aspects. You know, I studied video production and stuff, so like I love that kind of stuff. So I always like try to have some sort of visual with stuff. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you guys for the album so far, it's been like what, 3 or 4 music videos that have already come out?
Yeah, I think we try to have a video for every song we release. Uh, so yeah, pretty much.
It's funny because like I know for me, you know, I look you guys up on YouTube and then I'm scrolling on YouTube and it's like a new American Theory short or whatever with like a clip
Yeah.
from a music video. I'm like, damn, they got another one out already.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate it. Well, especially with the shorts, yeah, because we cut those up a lot, so those are a lot more for sure. But we try to have some sort of visual element to every song. I feel like it's an maybe it's not important, but I just like it. So I like,
It's important to you.
yeah, exactly.
So, I want to talk a little bit about your live shows. So, I guess to start, want to hear a little bit about the scene that you guys are in. I know you're in Charlotte. So, like, what's playing in Charlotte and the surrounding North Carolina area like for you guys?
Oh, it's awesome. And it's crazy how much like love we've gotten, even since we put out the first single Bleeding. Since then, I feel like our shows have just gotten crazier and crazier, with, people showing up and knowing the songs or like just, the energy. It's super cool. So it's kind of cool seeing, even people that have been with us since the beginning to like people that, found us through TikTok or through, word of mouth. Um, so, North Carolina is something we're always going to represent. So we love, playing at these places still. Like I love playing at the Milestone, you know, I love playing in Raleigh, Wilmington, surrounding areas. We got a show coming up in Greenville. So we're always going to show love for our area.
For sure. But yeah, that's a good point. What upcoming shows do you guys have for, I don't know, the next few weeks, months, whatever?
So far announced, we have Greenville on February 15th. We have Wilmington February 21st, Raleigh February 22nd, um, and then Charlotte for a festival appearance February 27th, and then we're appearing at Emo Night in Charlotte the following week, March 7th. So that'll be uh I think everything that's announced so far, but we're always trying to set up new stuff in different cities and everything. So we're definitely looking for a busy year, for sure, especially after the album releases on streaming.
Oh yeah. So maybe some potential either weekenders or some tours up maybe the coast or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely in the works right now. So hopefully we'll be able to announce something soon.
very cool. Very cool. Guess that leaves me with my one last question. I ask every band this when I talk to them. If I were to come to your city, what is like the one meal, the one restaurant, the one whatever it is I'd have to eat before I leave?
Oh shoot, that's tough. I feel like Charlotte kind of no, there's some good spots. It's just like maybe it's because I grew up here and everything to where like everything just kind of feels the same. But if I did have to recommend something, I would say Tacos Nevados on Central if you want some good, authentic Mexican food.
Oh yeah.
Fire. And that's just because I'm craving it right now, but I'm sure that there's other spots that I'm missing that would be super sick. So, but yeah, that's what I'm saying right now, and shout out to them as well. Yeah.
Dope. Dope. Well, thank you.